Hello. Oh, I'm back. Hello, Facebook Live. It is day 7 of the 30-day life challenge. And I actually had to skip a day yesterday because I was so sick. I was in such a fever coma. I would have not been able to speak to you at all. I was barely able to get out a normal sentence to tell my partner that I needed water or stuff like that. So it wouldn't have been physically possible. Sometimes we have to accept those things. That doesn't mean that it changes anything to the 30 days. The 30 days still stay. We just have a little break day in between of yesterday. Okay, with that being said, today I want to talk to you about true freedom and my story. Because the thing that I am really here for and the thing that I really believe in is for all people to be truly, truly free. And I don't mean freedom as in freedom physically or mentally or just some sort of freedom. A lot of people think they're free when they can do whatever they want. But that is not true. True freedom comes from within. I'm talking about the kind of freedom where you feel free every moment of every day. Where we feel free on the inside. That's the kind of freedom that I care about. When we feel like that, we are different people in the world. We live differently. We leave a different legacy in the world. And that's really the legacy that I want to leave behind. Is I want to bring that true freedom into the world. I want to bring this feeling of deep inner freedom to as many people as I possibly can in this lifetime. And that's why I do the work that I do. That's why I mentor and I coach. And I really believe that if everyone can reach true inner freedom within their lives, then we can have a completely different and a lot better world. And so, but what does it really mean, the true freedom? I want to tell you my story to explain that in the best possible way. So, when I was a child, I had, for the obvious eye, I had everything. Like, my family was not ultra wealthy, but upper middle class. So I didn't lack anything. I had everything that I needed. We traveled a lot. I had my horse. I was one of the lucky children. But in many ways, it was not so great because I had a narcissistic parent to deal with. I had a really challenging, how do I say that best? I was really challenged when it came to dealing with other kids. Like, I was the weirdo. I was the outcast. I was very, very sensitive and highly attuned already as a child, but I said I never lost it. And so I could feel and sense things and notice things that others couldn't. And so I was the weirdo who was talking to animals and trees and feel and see stuff that wasn't physically there. And so I was a bit the outcast and the weirdo. And at home, I was trying to keep the family system in place because I was the empathic sibling and had to balance out I was trying to balance out the struggles we had with our narcissistic parent. And so based on that, it was quite challenging. And what happened was that I became a very shy kid. I was very silent, very shy, very withdrawn, very introverted. And that made me feel quite locked in a way. I felt locked in to myself in a lot of ways. I didn't develop much of a voice. I didn't learn much how to speak up for myself. I didn't have much of an opinion of my own. I didn't have much of an identity of my own. I was just a little shy kid. And when I reached my teenage years, there was a part of me that rebelled against that, and that really went against that and wanted that to change, and like was full on, I'm breaking out of that box. I don't want to be the shy kiddo anymore. I'm going the other way. World, I'm going to show you that I belong. See me going. And so I became a total rebel. And I wanted to run with the cool kids and be, or what I considered the cool kids, and be part of the world. And I wanted everybody to like me, and kind of like the complete opposite. And so that didn't go well, as you can imagine, because that still didn't give me what I really wanted. Although I went with the cool kids and people liked me and I was part of the world, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good. And so that dissolved a bit. And yeah, the big breakthrough actually only came in my early 20s. And that was, at that time, I was already I had been doing energy work since quite a while already. I had been already interested in personal development since a while. So what happened back then was that my previous relationship had ended. I had just gone through a breakup, and I had realized that all along I was living for other people. So that's what that breakup made me realize. Yeah, I'm calling it a breakthrough unconsciously because it was a breakthrough, that realization. That breakup made me realize that I was living for other people. I was not living my life for me. I was not going for what I wanted. I was living my life for other people. I was going for what other people told me I was supposed to want. And I was just doing nothing else but trying to please others. And I was not living for myself. And so I realized, no surprise that I'm not happy with my life, that I don't feel fulfilled, that I don't feel joy, that I don't like my life, because I'm not even living it for me. How am I supposed to like a life that I don't live for myself? So when I realized that, I made a decision. I made a decision that I would learn how to live my life for me. And when I made the decision, I realized I don't even know who I am. Literally, I realized I had been put in identity boxes pretty much from the day I was born. I had been so much defined by those identity boxes and these ideas that I didn't even know what I like, or what I would be interested in, or what I would care about. And so what that moment made me realize was that these identities that we are being put into from early childhood on, they start creating patterns in our lives where we disconnect from our true essence, from who we really are, and from what we really want. So when we're being pushed into those patterns, into those programs, we lose that connection with our true essence. And it can be really hard if we had those identities for a very long time and we weren't supported in bringing out our true identity, our real identity, then it can be really hard to get that back at a later point in life. And so for me, it was a process of really finding all those places over the years, in over 20 years, that I had created false identities for myself, false realities for myself, thinking I have to be like this to be liked. I have to be like this to belong. thinking that this is the way for me to become happy, I had to find all these identities and I had to really deconstruct them out of my system, not just mentally, not just emotionally, but physically, in my energy, on every plane of existence. I had to deconstruct these identities and learn to find what's beneath. And so this was a really long process, and this is not to be underestimated. And I think there might still be quite some layers that we all have to go through if we want to find true freedom, because all of us have been programmed with some more, some less, with programmed with identities that are not us, that are not our real selves, that are behaviors that we took on because we needed them as coping mechanisms, as survival strategies, because we were taught we needed to do that to be loved. All those identities need to go for us to find true freedom, because the true freedom we are seeking is actually in being able to live our most essential, truest, and authentic self. And to find that part of us, we have to deconstruct all these identities and all these realities and all these programs we took on over decades so that we could survive in the world with the tools we had at that time, and find what's beneath our true self, who we really are. And that is an intense process, and that can be a long journey. And so honestly, today I had another one of those breakthroughs where one of those identities, finally, one of the biggest ones, probably the biggest one in my life that I recognized so far, that I was able to identify so far, collapsed. And it was like, oh my God, the level of freedom I am feeling. It's insane. It's insane, the kind of freedom when those identities collapse and they just poof out of your system. You feel like out of nowhere there's so much space inside you in the world. You feel free, you can move, you can think differently, you can feel differently, and you can choose. You start being able to choose. And that's what happens when we do the work of finding true freedom. And yes, this is a process. And yes, you may have deconstructed 20, 30, 100, 200, 300 of these identities yet. I don't know. I must have deconstructed at least 200 or more of identities that were programmed into me, that weren't my own and that I never wanted. And there's still more. We still have places to go. And in the end, it all leads us to always more expansion, because there's always more truth, more freedom we can experience, more true freedom we can experience. It is not you experience true freedom and that's it. There's a certain amount of what you can experience. At this moment, I can experience a certain level of freedom. And when I keep on doing the work, that level expands and rises, and I can experience more and more freedom. And that's true for all of us, because the truth about life on Earth is we are created to be expansive beings. So there is always more available for us. And if we desire to experience freedom in our lives, there's also always more freedom available. And for that, we have to do that in our work. And we have to see where we have taken on identities and programmings and stories that are not our own, and deconstruct them so we can create that experience of freedom in our lives. Because the freedom we are seeking, that true freedom, it comes from within, in the sense of it comes from us being free to be our true, authentic self. And that is only possible if we let go of these programs that control our behavior and our thinking and our feeling. that are not actually ours. So that is my story and my experience with what true freedom means and what true freedom is. This is what I'm here for. I wish the whole world could experience what it feels like to slowly reclaim that freedom piece by piece by piece and start feeling freer and freer and freer on the inside, because it's the most magical feeling in the world. And I wish that to everyone. Thank you for being here. It was, as always, an absolute pleasure. That's it for today. And if you enjoyed this video, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know what you think, let me know your opinion, let me know your experience with true freedom. And if you know someone, or if you can think of someone who you think would like this video or profit from this video, please always feel free to share. And then I will see you tomorrow for another day on the 30-Day Life Challenge. Take care. I'll see you soon.